Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I want to be hyped, but there's really nothing to be hyped about. This is the Q&A podcast after the Super Bowl defeat 38-35 Kansas City. I'm your host, Jason Avant, one of your hosts. The other host is the one and only Quintin Mikell. Q, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? It's not not good times right now, man. It's frustrating times, but
Yeah.
it's we'll get into it. But it's good to
So
see everybody. Glad to be back. Thank you for supporting us as always. And yeah, we'll get into it, man.
we'll definitely get into it. Before we do that, we want to say thank you guys for another successful year. Everyone that tunes in, a lot of feedback in Phoenix about Inside the Birds platform as a whole, the Q&A show, everyone that's tuning in each and every week. Thank you guys sincerely, everything that you do for us. If you have any questions that you want to get answered, make sure you send those questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Also, follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Catch us out on Inside the Birds YouTube channel. Also, Amazon and Apple as well. So, Q, we just talked about it. We're going to get right into it. Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in the last few years or so. Last 4 years, second Super Bowl in the last 4 years. Coach Andy's second Super Bowl, beat the Eagles 38-35. Before we get into the game, talk about the overall fan experience in Phoenix. Was there even fans, Chiefs, Eagles? How was your total experience? I know you had some special plan for it.
Yeah, man, it was a great time. The entire experience was fun. The last Super Bowl I went to was the one in Indianapolis, and when I was there, I mean, my family used to live in Indianapolis, so I didn't get a chance to do a lot of the NFL experience type stuff. So this time being in Phoenix, I was able to bring my family down. We drove down on Friday, and man, we had a great time. The kids had a blast. We went to the Eagles party on Friday night. Went to the NFL experience on Saturday, and got to see a bunch of old teammates and guys I competed against. Got to the kids got to meet some of my old teammates and some of adversaries and even I got to meet, man, the coolest part was we got to meet Randall Cunningham, which was really cool at the Eagles party.
Yeah.
I saw you there, by the way. You was in line in front of me, and I was trying to get to you, but I don't know how you do this, man. Like, first of all, you are all over the place, man. Like, I don't you can't stay in one spot for like 1 second. I was like, oh, there you go, and then like I turned around and you're gone. I couldn't see you again.
Gone.
And then like I on it was actually really cool on Saturday on Sunday. I met up with Hollis and was able to get into this function he was having, and I would sign autographs and stuff. But literally every single autograph that I signed, you had signed it before. So I was like, where is he? Like,
Where
how
is
is
he?
he getting all over the place? Like, Q, can you sign this? And it's like, I look at it, Jason Avant, Jason Avant. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. You were all over the place, man. But it was fun, man. I had a good time. The kids had a blast, and it's something they'll remember forever. So
Yeah,
it was cool.
it was a good time. I wish I'd been able to bring my son. He told me he didn't want to go, and I didn't want to force him. I didn't want him having a bad experience. I remember my dad forcing me to go fishing, and I never wanted to fish again. So I was like, I'm not gonna force him. I'm gonna wait till he wants to go. So hopefully we get a chance to go check out a Super Bowl soon when he's up and willing to go. But it was definitely a fun experience. Did Radio Row. Got a chance to meet with a lot of people. As you guys know, that follows Inside the Birds platform. You saw me there with a bunch of guys. I think my favorite interview had to be Louis Riddick's because he brought out some insight and talked about how big of a win this would be for the Chiefs if they were able to pull it off, seeing the odds that they faced at the beginning of the season, losing a MVP type of player in Tyreek Hill, replacing most of the receivers on the team, McCole Hardman being the only receiver returning, and all the young players in the secondary, all the things they had to overcome to win, and they were able to do that. Freaking Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid won a Super Bowl with Juju Smith-Schuster averaging 7 yards a catch as the top receiver. 256 yards. It's just unbelievable
It's
of the
crazy.
things that he was able to dial up in that second half. And we're going to get into that, right? So let's talk about the game as a whole, recap. How awesome was Jalen Hurts in that game? You were definitely in the stadium. I was in the stadium looking at it the entire time. I had a great seat, even though it was high. I was on the first row. I had no obstruction, saw right to the field, saw everything that was going on, jotting down notes, all those types of things. From your perspective, how good was Jalen Hurts that game?
He was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, um, obviously, you know what he can do running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he can do as a leader, but his accuracy on a lot of those throws, especially in the first half, were just phenomenal. I mean, the
Yeah.
throw when he threw on the sideline, it's a dangerous throw and it's a tight window, but the one he threw to Goddard on
Dallas
the sideline,
mm-hmm. In the right
that
side
was
line.
and I was I was I was thoroughly impressed with his performance. And it's unfortunate that obviously losing the game because um it really kind of the loss really overshadowed how well he played, and obviously the turnover wasn't great, but he bounced back from that. He came
Mm-hmm.
back and he put together drive after drive, and my hat goes off to him, man. This team is in very good hands moving along with him at the helm.
Yeah, the quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback position. I thought that he played outstanding again from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. You had a sense that the Chiefs understood the game plan that was designed, right? So
Yeah.
the Chiefs game plan was like this. We're going to stop them from running the ball traditionally, and we're going to put the ball in the hands of Jalen Hurts. That was their game plan, right? And they did that. The Chiefs defensive line dominated our offensive line. You can say it was the turf. You can say whatever it was. Their defensive line and their front seven dominated us when it comes to running the football. We had 17 rushes by nine quarterbacks, people that did not Jalen Hurts. 17 rushes by nine quarterbacks. We averaged under 3 yards a carry. Under 3 yards a carry. I didn't say 3 yards a carry. I said under 3 yards a carry. We're talking about like 2.4, 2.5 yards a carry for
Wow.
on 17 rushes. They stopped us and they dominated us up front. So therefore, Jalen Hurts took on a larger role when it comes to running the ball, but also they put it in his hands, and Jalen Hurts answered the call. All right, you need me. They had good coverages in a lot of situations. Let me know that Spagnuolo studied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understood, because he had to make some special plays. There was multiple special plays. Two sideline throws to Dallas Goedert, one that he missed, one that he caught. Great plays, great throws. Devontae Smith laid one on the sideline for him. The one that he didn't come down, Quez, right in his hands. Dime, the one that AJ Brown where he stopped and tricked the guy. That still was a great ball. He was wheeling and dealing. I was in the stands like this. I'm serious. I had my whole section doing like this when he was throwing down. I was like, "Ooh!" I was so excited and so happy for that young man because he was out there. Kobe, I'm talking about all game on the money, like
Yeah.
very few missed throws at all. Drops, yes. Throwaways, yes. But when he was on target and locked in, he made it and he was ready to go. When I saw that, I was like, man, the Eagles have a shot because he brought his A game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He brought his A game. So definitely the best game I've ever seen Jalen Hurts play by far.
Absolutely. I
By
agree with
far,
that.
front to bottom. Ball was in the right spot the entire game. And to have the balls to throw the ball to Dallas, I wish I'd let you guys see that play. When I say the flat defender was all under that, and if he was 2 inches taller, probably would have picked it. To
Yeah.
let that ball go was unbelievable. Just for him to he felt it. He felt it.
Yeah.
He felt
Yeah.
like he can throw a dart into the little bitty hole from 100 yards away. That game.
He was killing it, man.
Yeah, he did really good. All right, costly mistakes. Hurts' fumble. Have we ever seen Hurts just drop the ball?
Never seen it. That
I,
was
I don't know. That was weird and bizarre. Bad punt return. First of all, we got too many freaking offensive players on special teams, man. On punt team, it's too many of them. It was 4 of them right there, stacked behind each other. They don't know what to do. All right, we're gonna get there in 1 second. All right, it was too. You can't have that many offensive players on punt, man. You can't. You can't, like that right there alone. They don't understand awareness and what's going on and blocking scheme. A defense is taught, okay, there's a guy outside of me. The ball is going outside. Offense is like, what they doing over there? They just over there having a party. The ball carrier is right here. I ain't that player made me so mad. I'm like, dude, you're gonna run right to the back of your own teammate. You never stack your own color. You don't like.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about that play.
I was so mad, Q. I was so mad. You know, being on punt team forever.
Yeah. Before that play, I looked at my son Champ. I said, if it was me, I would kick that ball out of bounds right now. Because you could feel it in the stadium. You could feel the momentum. They just went 3 and out. You know, the Chiefs had come down. You just could feel, as a player,
Yeah.
me and my buddies were talking about this the other day. Like, you just have that feeling where you just know something, like, something's not right. And I looked at my son. I said, if it was me, I'm kicking this ball out of bounds. He's like, no, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as you see Tony running down the sidelines, I'm like, that's why you kick it out of bounds right now. And I know you're technically not supposed to do that, but I just had a feeling, man. And that one was a killer.
On that play, I remember. So what did we talk about last week? And what I talked about the entire week, I said if the game is close, it's going to come down to coaching.
Yes.
And if it comes down to coaching, we're going to lose that matchup because they got the best special teams coordinator in the game and has been forever in Dave Toll, right? And called a wall scheme. Offensive players out there. It was so many errors. Like there was no clear ball guy. Nobody went to go attack him. Everyone slowed up. They didn't recognize that the return was headed to the right. They were running and chasing their own colors. There were so many errors on that one play. The punter slipped. A bad punt. It was a bunch of things going wrong in that play. And here's the big thing. And I was talking to the guy that was sitting next to me. He was like, man, how do you know what play's coming for Andy and for the other team? I was like, just look at what a running back is lined up in the backfield. If he's at 5 yards depth, you're going to notice there's going to be a pass. If he's at 7, you're going to be able to, it's probably going to be a run. And based on where the receivers are, it's a good chance. So I was calling out like plays and stuff. And every time and this has been the entire year. It wasn't the Super Bowl, the entire year. Every time the Eagles start off a drive with a penalty, the drive stalls. Every time, or something bad happens. When they start off a drive, or in a critical situation, have a pre-snap penalty. Every time this game, it was every time this game when they started out with a false start or something like that, that drive stalled. In a critical situation, it's a 3rd and 1. Was it 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1? 3rd and 1, maybe 4th and 1. I can't remember. But we have a false start, which backs it up and makes it a 3rd and 6, 4th and 6. Now Jalen Hurts loses the ball, but that wasn't even supposed to happen if we're disciplined because it's a freaking quarterback sneak that we do all the time. Why are you anxious to do a quarterback sneak? And we do the play a million times. We seen Chris Jones jump over the top, hit him, and still couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessary Jalen fumbling. He did, but he don't even have to get in that situation because that's self-induced.
Yeah.
Every time our drive has stalled this year is because of us. It's very rarely the defense had a great scheme and they just outnumbered us. It's always been a penalty, holding, false start, legal formation, legal shift, something of that nature by us. And I was like, dude, in critical moments when we had that 3 and out, same thing happened. I was like, that was a terrible. And then the Tony thing happened.
Yeah, that's crazy,
So,
man.
so that's how that occurs.
Yeah, you're right, and that's why a lot of coaches put such an emphasis on that. With
Yeah.
the pre-snap penalties. You're right, 100% about that, man.
Talk to me about the third down holding call, Bradbury.
So that play was extremely frustrating for me as a defensive back because honestly, he had bad technique from the beginning. Now, you can argue technique. You can argue. Okay, so it was holding, right? I disagree with the ref making that call in that moment, especially when they've been holding all over the field. I watched 4 quarters of Reddick just get straight up mauled by that Chiefs offensive line, and when you're picking it, when it feels like you're picking and choosing when you're going to throw the flag, that's where I have a problem. Now it was holding. I don't think it impeded the route. I don't think the ball was catchable. So by the book, yes. But in that situation, as a ref, you got to swallow it right there. You don't want to be the reason why the game is affected, and especially on a play like that where it wasn't even close to being a completion. That right there is what I am most frustrated with. That, and also the bad technique by Bradbury in the beginning of that play. If he lines correctly, if he's ready, has his eyes in the right spot, he's not going to even take that whip route or whatever you want to call it. That fake on that whip route. Like, he's going to play with good technique and he's going to stay square. He's going to use his hands. And just all across the board, I don't think this was Bradbury's best game, technique wise and scheme wise. And it's just unfortunate, man, because they have a chance. That play isn't, if they don't throw the flag there, the Eagles have a chance there. So me personally, I don't disagree with that it was holding, but I disagree with throwing the flag at that point in the game.
Yeah.
What about you?
So Q, here we go. All right. So here's my thought process on it. There's holding on every play, especially by DBs. DBs will hold you knowing that the referee's not going to call it. Just like a moving violation when you're driving, that's equivalent to pulling somebody over for not putting their turn signal on.
Okay.
So I'm switching lanes and I don't put my turn signal on and I get pulled over for that. How many times that's going to happen?
I got you.
1 out of 500.
Yeah.
People they're not pulling you over for not putting your turn signal on. Yes, is it a violation? Yeah, it is a violation, but usually because it's such a minor offense, you're not going to exercise that right as a police officer. You don't even feel in good conscience to pull me over and tell me, hey, sir, you didn't put your turn signal on when you turn. He feels guilty about telling me that. And that play is the same exact thing. You do not reward a team that's losing a down. The play was a whip route. It was in and it was back out. Patrick Mahomes had nowhere to go with the football. It's the only play that we covered the entire second half. It was the only one. They had every other play. Success. That's the only play that we were actually winning it down. There was no other place to go with the football. So they decided to scramble. He held on to the football. Of course, our pass rush didn't get there. Hold on to the football, and he throws one up for dear life, and you reward him. In basketball, I was always taught that if you're out of control, no matter what, you're not getting a call. If you're going to the lane, throwing elbows and stepping and doing stuff, even if you do get fouled, the referee's not going to give you the call because you're out of control. That in that type of moment, as the offense, you're losing. You're out of control. So why reward them by bailing them out in that situation? You don't bail them out in that situation because it wasn't such an offense that would affect the outcome of the play. And I'm sitting there looking at the referee because it's on my side of the field, looking down. The flag came in late as hell, and it was almost like, yo, Patrick Mahomes got to go ahead and win this game. Like it wasn't at the line of scrimmage where the most egregious hold happened.
Yeah.
That second little tug, that wasn't bad. It was the first one where if you're going to call it, you call it right at the beginning of that play.
Yeah.
When a ball is hitting the ground is when the flag comes out. And I'm like, oh, this is some bull stuff.
Yeah.
So that play pissed me off. Now, am I saying that he didn't hold? He held him. But under the letter of the law, and you would literally have to go undo 99% of NFL football games from the beginning of football existence in order to rectify everything that's going on. I've been tackled, literally knocked out, and looked up at the referees. I can't call it in this situation. It's time to get. That's what he told me. And you just shake your head like it is the end of the game. Because we know at the end of the game, they don't call anything.
Yeah.
You on your own. Inside of 2 minutes, you're on your own. Unless it's so outrageous that it's going to bring controversy. Mm-hmm. But little bitty stuff, they do not call. And for some reason, they call a little minor offense when it mattered. And it pissed me off. And I'm not saying that Bradbury, should have not owned up to it. He did. He owned up to it. All the Eagles did great. They did great with the way that they handled it. Great. Power to them. But as a fan and as somebody that's been in the game, that was a BS situation. I'm not saying that they were cheating or it was scripted or none of that. I am saying is that right there, based on all the stuff that was transpiring in that game, all the holding, all the offensive line bear hugging they were doing, man, stop it right now. Stop it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Shoot.
You give me more fired up now, man. You know what else made me mad too? When you see Goodell hugging was it Chris Jones after the game? Did you see that? Him and I think it was Chris Jones. He's like giving him a big hug, like just come on, hug, man.
Yeah, like man.
I'm not trying to say nothing, but I don't like Goodell very much.
Some stuff, some right. But we lost offensive line and defensive line. I would never thought that would
happen. Yeah.
But you give him 2 weeks. Give him 2 weeks. Give him 2 weeks. We lost offensive line and defensive line.
Absolutely.
And if we lose offensive line, defensive line, we're gonna lose in secondary. All right, last one. Quez's drop. How big was that? Was one of the things that would have made that a touchdown potential drive. Yeah. Changes the complexion of the game, and you only get one target or two targets in the game. You got to come down with them, and that's just how the league is. I've been there where you're going to get 1, 2, 3 targets a game. You better make those targets count and play with your hair on fire. Alert, you don't have the time to soak. You don't have the time to get warmed up. You got to be mentally prepared because your number is going to be called. And it's been a huge, regression from Quez, going backwards this year. He made a few good plays, but he's been on the wrong side of these drops in critical situations the entire year, and it's been very bizarre and weird. So we got to figure out a way to shore up the middle. Somebody that can do Zach Pascal's job, but has better speed than Zach Pascal. Because right now, I think Quez has played his way out of being a starter.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Or at least he has to fight for his position again.
Yeah.
So they need somebody that's dual in Zach, so they don't have to keep changing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think honestly, I hate to say this and I know you like Quez. I think the damage is done. I think that was the final straw. Obviously anything can happen, but how many opportunities will he get to prove that he's that guy? And all the way back from, like you said, it started, I would say it was started about mid-season. And I don't know what happened, but something was going on about mid-season where it just seemed like there was a disconnect between, him and Jalen. We were talking about him not coming back to the ball and getting some interceptions. We were talking about him dropping balls down the middle of the field, down the field on the deep ball. And I hate to be that guy, but I just think that was the final straw. And I felt it in the stadium. Like I, that was that was the perfect opportunity for him to solidify himself in that spot, and he failed to do so. And as a fan, it was tough for me because I know as a former player, like you don't ever want to give up on your teammates. You don't ever want to give up. But as a fan, I was like, I'm done. Like this is it.
Yeah, like, yeah,
We needed the team needed that, and he didn't come up when the team needed him the most. And so now it's like, well, can you ever rely on him? And so
yeah,
for me, that was a huge drop. It was very frustrating to see it because I've been like you since you've been telling me about him. I've been rooting for him. I've been hoping for him to turn that corner, and I haven't seen it.
yeah. Yeah, he's definitely dropping the bag, dropping like those are the plays and those moments that you got to come up with. And I just think that he's scared right now. I think
Mm,
that the drops are in his head and fear is taking over. And that's the thing. Like, can you regain that confidence? Who knows? Who knows? But right now, he hasn't regained his confidence from early in the season, dropping passes from that Washington game where he fumbled. He hadn't been right since that game, and it's been a long season.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, hadn't been right since he fumbled. And that he made a play or two since, but not many. And Zach Pascal's reps has gone up because he hasn't been able to be reliable. Pascal's been playing more than he ever has. So they got to figure out a person that can do both jobs. And they probably won't be as fast as Quez, but they can figure out somebody that can do both and add some receiving value. So now it's all seamless. So when they're
Mm,
running stuff, it's not old. That's an indicator, you know.
got you.
Yeah. All right. Does Jonathan Gannon deserve all the heat he's getting, especially with the non-existent pass rush?
Yes, he deserves all the smoke. And you said it. He's gonna get out coached. But for me, this is what we've all been alluding to all season, all the way back from last year. Um, when you play it safe, your entire defensive, the entire time he's been here. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I think he's played it safe the entire time. So what happens when you're in a situation where you're playing against a star quarterback with a star tight end, star players against a coach that's very experienced and knows what he's doing, and you haven't used all of your tools up until that point? You're expecting a team that's never really blitzed or played a whole lot of zero coverage, hasn't played a whole lot of man coverage, hasn't played a whole lot of multiple coverages, just basically sat in the zone and allowed the defensive front to do what they do. When you are asked as a coach, as a coordinator, to step up and make a call and make adjustments, and you've never done that, you've never practiced doing that, this is what happens. You get situations where you got two wide open walk-in touchdowns in a critical game at critical times. And this is what I think all of the fans, all of the analysts, all the people like myself have been saying this whole time is, yeah, it's fine. Not what, how many 72 sacks? I don't know how many sacks they had, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They had a record for amount of sacks. But on the other side of that, you're not really you're just playing soft. You're not manipulating the game. You're not creating turnovers from your scheme. You're just allowing the players to do what they do, and that's fine. That's great. But when the team is needing you as a coach to come up with some way to stop someone, when when maybe the coaching staff that you're facing is a little bit above you, how are you going to step up? And he didn't step up to the plate. He didn't adjust. He didn't come up with a better scheme. He didn't come up with another way to get pressure. He didn't come up with a way to stop. The passing game, the run game. I mean, he just got worked left and right. And I think it all comes back to the fact that during the season he absolutely refused to take chances. He absolutely refused to change the coverages. He absolutely refused to do the things that could help you in a situation like this when you're going to need it. So I think this is 100% on Gannon.
Yeah. I Gannon deserves a lot of heat. And I know what I know what his team is saying. Man, I gave up 24 points,
True.
right? Because they're gonna say, okay, Jalen gave up the 7, and then the punt return the other, right? That'd be 31-38, right? So I only gave up 24 points, right? but there are situations that you got to come up with a stop in order to win. There are gonna be situations that's advantageous to you where the offense is going out and scoring the entire time, like they did most of the game. And there's going to be a situation where you're putting in a hurry, a sudden change situation where you didn't expect to be getting the ball at the 6 yard line, and we need to stop. In those moments, we needed a stop, and you had not only was there no answer, the guys at the Super Bowl, the biggest stage, didn't know what the hell was going on with a simple motion. It was a motion. It wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't like a defensive or a fullback was outside or tackle was outside. It was some funky formation. It's a tight end and a receiver, and one goes in motion, and both guys end up wide open. He could have just lollipopped the ball up in between, and they would have fought for it, like two piranhas with food with blood in the water. Right? It was nobody near the guys on a simple motion because you're man to man and you guys aren't accustomed to playing man to man. So your guys are in and out and doing all type of stupid stuff for no reason.
Yep.
And these plays are day one Andy Reid plays. You played an Andy Reid disciple in the Jaguars, which ran the same exact offense and got the same exact results that game with missed assignments as they did in the Super Bowl.
That's coaching right there.
That's coaching. Andy Reid, staple plays that Andy Reid's going to run. He's going to run a deep cross 3 or 4 times every single game. The first play of the game or first time Travis Kelce gets out, it's a linebacker, TJ Edwards, running across the middle with freaking, no, that was on a deep cross, but got a linebacker in the middle of the field, freaking Travis Kelce.
Yeah, he right behind him.
Right behind him, wide open.
TJ's staring at Mahomes like he's gonna throw the ball to him.
wide open. Then he comes back with the fake deep cross and come back out. I've been running the same route. I ran that route for 9.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Same stuff, same offense, same position. The in motion, back out. How many times have you covered that in practice? The one that Scott, the one that Scott.
A million times.
A million times. This stuff has been there, and for you to have no answer on stuff that's not, it's an open book test. It's so much film to this. This wasn't new. I can see if there was something stylistically new and they did a ring around the rosy and there was a dude over here and your guy's like, oh, timeout. We don't know what's going on. Dude, these plays were day one base plays, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that right there, I don't know if he was thinking about being a head coach in Arizona, distracted, but your team really, they were not ready to compete and play at the level that was needed in that situation.
Yeah, I agree. And two, and I'm gonna add a couple points to that too. First of all, and going back to the Jaguars game, if it didn't work the first time, what are you trying to do it the second time? This is why I'm not a huge fan, and I'm not a defense coordinator, but I'm not a huge fan of playing man-to-man in the red zone that tight because everything happens so fast. You don't really have enough time to react. So I wish they would have played a little more zone there. The other part I'm going to add, so I understand what you're saying. They only gave up 24 points, but also the Eagles offense, that first half, held the ball. They had some long drives and they kept Mahomes off the field. So it very well could have been way worse in that first half. So again, I don't think that the 24 points part kind of holds up. Is this the true value? And then the last part I'm gonna make is I found this out, and I'm sure you saw this on game day. It got released that the Eagles brought Vic Fangio in, and he'd been in there in the offices for the last couple of weeks as a consultant and kind of helping out game planning. Come to find out, I think Vic Fangio is 0-6 versus Andy. right? I think I saw something like that. He's 0-6 versus Andy Reid's offense. And so if you're going to bring in someone to help you out in game plan, why would you pick a guy that's 0-6? Right? Like I would have called Sean McDermott. I would have called Ron Rivera. I would have
Somebody that
called,
practice against it all the time.
right? Like what? Just just when I saw, dude, I don't. When I read that and I saw that, I was like, oh boy,
Yeah,
this ain't gonna be good.
you big dummy, Lamont. Yeah, but that right there was such a here's the point that we're going to make to it, and we wrap it up nice. I want you guys to just notice something. Notice that Patrick Mahomes in the second half did not have to think about where to throw the football. That lets you know that Andy Reid was tearing Jonathan Gannon's butt up. The ball was out of his hands. It was the first read. It was no pass rush. It was out so quick that they can do nothing. That means the offensive coordinator is tearing the defensive coordinator's butt up. That's what that means. On the contrary, look at what Jalen Hurts and the tough throws he had to make against Spagnuolo. He made the throws because he was a better player that day, but their players were in position.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a totally different thing. When you're getting beat because you're just being out athleted or the guy's a better player, that's a totally different thing than you're not being around the ball at all. So you can see the difference in the two coordinators. Yes, Spagnuolo gave up 38 points, but his players were in position the entire game. On every one of them. Just think about all the tough catches that had to be made. AJ Brown stopped and started again. The guy was right there in that situation.
That was a great play.
Devontae Smith, the one that got knocked out of his hand, the guy was right there. The only play that they gave up was the deep one at the end of the game to Devontae Smith. That was the only play that wasn't contested. Jalen Hurts was just in his bag balling.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
we skipped this next one. I just because the Eagles did a great job with ball possession, and I don't think it was intentional. I just think that, like I said, Spagnuolo's defense was a little bit better prepared for the game, so it was times where the drives were taking longer because they were actually going up against a defense that was prepared.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get the traction with the run game.
They couldn't get the traction. And this, having played in this defense for so many years, it is predicated on stopping the run. I will tell you this, the one, if you go back to Spagnuolo and Jim Johnson, the one thing that this defense has always struggled against was athletic quarterbacks that can run the ball. And that's why I think we saw a lot of the QB draws and stuff like that, because that's a weakness of this defense. So, big ups to Steichen and Sirianni with the offensive game plan with that. So
yeah, that definitely changed the game.
Yeah.
And big ups to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. They were out there doing their best to get open, and AJ Brown, million slants. We could have ran 5 or 6 more of those.
Yeah.
How bad were the field conditions? It was terrible.
It was terrible.
Let me comment. Go ahead.
You got it. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I'd never seen this before, and you probably saw it at halftime before they brought the stage out for Rihanna. I saw a crew of about 15, 20 guys with buckets picking up all the divots off the field and putting them in these buckets and taking them off. I've never seen that before. Now, I've never been out at halftime, so maybe it does happen, but I've never seen the NFL field look that bad. It was atrocious, and I felt bad for the players out there.
Yeah, they were that if the game is different too, if the field situation is different. I definitely think that. And the worst part about it is, instead of just owning it, because this is not the first time Arizona's been bad. Arizona's always been bad. When we played there in the NFC Championship game, it was bad. Was it that bad? No, but Arizona has always been a terrible surface to play on. Always. It's not just this game. It's always been terrible. They always tell you to wear your 7-stud cleats, and guys hate wearing 7-stud cleats,
Oh my
right?
God.
So because you scared that long cleat is gonna get stuck in the ground, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's your knee. So you
Yeah.
don't want to play in that cleat at all. But they tell you to put it on the 7-stud going out there, right? And you still slipping, sliding in 7-studs. So the moral of the story is this: the NFL has convinced Arizona to use that dumb operating system where you roll it off, it goes down under the ground, and that's how you keep your grass. You roll it outside and all this stuff. It's not working.
Nope.
And guess what? You need turf. And they don't want to look like the idiots that spend all that money on that operational system or that mechanical system, and you still need turf. I'm gonna tell you, you need turf. And that whole $100 million that you spent trying to put that stuff on the ground was a waste of time and money. It was a bad investment. Eat it right now. Don't chase the don't chase it. It's done.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
There's that people like going to Phoenix. You want to use that venue, get the people some turf and call it a day. And turf is terrible, but at least people can stop and start. You're gonna get some knee injuries, but what you got going on there is horrible, and it's a bad look for the NFL.
Very bad look.
All right, topic 3, Q. How tough will it be for Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. No. You good. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I was.
how tough will it be for losing Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen? Let's talk about Gannon first. How tough?
I don't think it's going to be tough at all. I think. Well, I I think I'll put it this way: if the Eagles are willing to bring in a defensive coordinator with some experience, I love the idea of Lovie Smith coming in. I think I've heard Vance Johnson. I
Vance
like the
Joseph, yeah,
idea of
Vance
guys like
Joseph.
that,
Mm-hmm.
or Vance Joseph. Sorry. Um, if they can replace Gannon with the experienced defensive coordinator and allow Sirianni and David or Brian Johnson to really focus on the offense, I think Gannon can be absolutely easy to replace. Now, if they're talking about promoting from within, I think that's going to be a little more difficult. Um, I don't know anyone on this staff that has enough experience, not even enough experience as Gannon to really step in. I think the linebackers coach is Rallis, right? Usually you
Uh-huh.
go from the linebacker coach to the defensive coordinator. So if it's from within, I would expect it to be Rallis. But if they can bring in someone from the outside with some experience, I think very good. And Steichen, I think Steichen's a very good offensive mind, but I think Sirianni and coach, the quarterback's coach Johnson can definitely definitely take over and be fine there. But I'm really more concerned with this defensive coordinator, whoever they're thinking about bringing in.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list of guys that could possibly, you know, the guys that it could possibly be. You talked about Lovie Smith, talked about Vance Joseph. I know Lovie knows some football. He's going to bring in the cover 2 style. I don't necessarily think our system is designed for that.
Denard Wilson. Looks like
Yeah,
Denard Wilson would be the guy. I like
yeah.
Denard.
Vance Joseph is a little bit more aggressive than Lovey is. Then you get in like there are some guys that's going to be going to be fired. So we'll see how that list going. But I don't think that we miss anything with Jonathan Gannon. That's just me. I was so happy that Arizona Cardinals decided to make him the head coach. I'm talking about I was happy as hell, and so I don't think we're going to miss too much because here's what I was taught. I remember meeting with the Patriots, Josh McDaniel, and the way Andy deployed me, Andy knew that I didn't need help getting open. And that was the thing. He used all of his help getting Deshaun open or getting Macklin open, getting Westbrook open, whatever it is, because he would put those guys in motion because they were more valuable and they needed a little more help, especially Deshaun. He knew that I can line up every single time and beat the guy in front of me. So he didn't really help me out. Right. So me getting open was 100% Jason. It wasn't a scheme. It wasn't a motion. It wasn't a stack. It wasn't, very rarely was there a play call that was a scheme that just got me open because of the scheme. Right. It was usually me operating. And Josh McDaniel said, we watch you. We love you because This is when they recruit me to come to Patriots. We love you because you get open by yourself. He's like, but I can make it easier for you. If I turn that, you get open 70% of the time, but I'm gonna get you open 30% of the time with just place game. And that's what you want from a defensive coordinator. You don't want the players like they're doing now getting open 90% of the time on their own just because they're better athletes and because they're rushing forward and they have to be this great defensive end in order to do that. Yeah, some guys are going to do that. But what happened? Help them out. Give them some easy ones. Let them be a run through. When was the last time we seen a run through blitz and the guy get blitzed? Like, no, it never is. Somebody always has to overpower somebody. It's never like a free shot on the quarterback. Let's create some of that. And when I don't see those types of things from the defensive line and from our defense, like our guys are making great plays because they're great athletes, but they're doing it on their own. And so therefore I don't value Jonathan Gannon being the defensive coordinator here. So I'm glad he's in Arizona. So I can't wait to see Lovey or somebody else come in that's going to value getting the football out, because that's the one thing Lovey did. Lovey loves getting the football out, and all of his teams, you work as an offense knowing that this week, man, we got to hold the ball with two hands. Don't even worry about yards after catch. Just hold the ball with two hands because they're going to try to get it out. And that's the Lovey Smith type of way. Do I love the cover two? No, I don't necessarily think I think it's past its prime. But anyway, I think he's good enough to be able to adapt.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And Shane, go ahead.
No, you go.
Go
ahead, finish.
And then Shane Steichen, it's going to be a little bit tougher job because the elevation from Nick Sirianni play calling this last year to this year has been totally different. I pray that Brian Johnson can be able to replicate that if he is the guy. And then you also worry about the ripple down effect of Shane Steichen leaving and then Brian Johnson being so close to Jalen Hurts and being a part of his growth and development. Do you want to mess that up by making him the offense coordinator? He has less time with Jalen Hurts. And then who do you put in as a quarterback's coach? Will he have the same rapport with Jalen Hurts? Will he still get better? Those types of things are very nuanced, and I don't necessarily know what the right answer is. Do you bring in an offensive coordinator just to have the title and works with everybody and runs the meetings, allow Brian Johnson to stay in the same position, or add a title to him so he's not offended in order to keep the development with Jalen Hurts going? There's a bunch of things. I think that one's a little bit more complicated than the Jonathan Gannon one.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah.
And that's a definitely a key part is the quarterback. Is that how? Because I've always kind of wondered this, and you might know this. How important? I wouldn't say important, but how integral into like the way that the game planning works is the quarterback's coach, right? Like last year, Steichen's the offensive coordinator, Sirianni's offensive-minded head coach. Brian Johnson, does he, as a quarterback's coach, does he have any say in the game planning?
Yeah,
each week.
The quarterback coach is literally a baby offensive coordinator.
Okay.
He's basically a baby offensive coordinator, and that's how it is, because the quarterback coach is going to be part of he's going to be in every game plan situation, and usually that's the progression. Usually a quarterback coach becomes an offense coordinator. That's how the progression has always been. But the day-to-day fine tuning of Jalen Hurts and telling him why he's missing and being able to take coaching and being critical and tighten up his hips and also shoulders on target and driving the ball, like making repetition. That's his main job, is to communicate with Jalen Hurts and also take him through all of that. But yes, he does have a say on what he can do, what he thinks Jalen can do, because he's around him. I like this play for him. I like that. I don't like that play for him. So he's definitely gonna have that say.
Okay.
Yeah, and if the offensive coordinator is sick, that guy's gonna be the offensive coordinator. That's just how it is.
Okay. That's good to know. I never knew that. I never knew how, because like I was saying earlier with the defensive, usually on defense, you go from linebackers coach to defensive coordinator. So I didn't know if it was kind of the same deal there.
Yeah.
All right. Cool, man.
All right. Let's we got two more things that we're gonna cover. Free agents and questions. All right. So here's a list. Here's a list that we got to worry about as far as free agents. Our Eagles free agents this offseason. Okay, listen to this because it's most of our team.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go through and you tell me if you're bringing them back or not. Fletcher Cox, you bringing them back?
He's at 14 mil this year. I I would like to bring him back, but it had to be at a lower number. But I'd like to have him back.
So he's possibly walking, but Fletcher is one of those guys that want to play for Philly, so you may be able to get him back.
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't be wearing that blouse no more, Fletch.
Yeah, what is he? What are you doing? We live in a generation of this. I ain't gonna say what it is. I don't want to get canceled. But yeah, we live in a generation of a bunch of dudes that got issues right now.
Yeah,
All right, Robert Quinn.
No, I wouldn't bring him back. I think he's
Yeah, he didn't do anything for us. No Robert Quinn. Nope. Brandon Graham.
Yes, gotta bring him back.
Is he a priority?
He's a priority.
Javon Hargrave.
I don't think you can. When you drafted Jordan Davis, you got to give him an opportunity to start to grow. I think I would love to have him back, but I think he's gone.
Can't afford him.
Can't.
I think Hargrave is a priority. I think they should get rid of Fletcher Cox and I think Hargrave and Jordan Davis is they're a good combination together.
That's a good point.
Because you got a 0 and you got a 3.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. You're right.
Yeah. But that's just me.
I didn't realize Fletch was 32.
Yeah, Jason Kelce.
Oh, I want to bring him back, man.
If he wants to stay, you let him stay as long as he wants.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? If he wants to stay, let him stay. Cam Jurgens got to wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
I just say Amalu, you get rid of I just say Amalu if Jalen. If Jason Kelce plays, put Cam Jurgens at guard.
Yes.
Right? James Bradbury.
That's a tough one for me.
That ain't tough for
me. What you saying?
I say he's gone. I say you got. He said the other day that he don't want to play for free. Not play for free, but pay for cheap. So you can't keep him. And you have the number what? 8 pick, 9 pick?
Yeah. So now I'm looking at this through the lens of the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Number one, it's difficult to draft a cornerback. Now they have that 8 pick, 9, 10 pick?
10.
And they're looking at, I think I've heard they were looking at the Christian Gonzalez from Oregon, tremendous cornerback. But it's always hard for me to rely on a young corner. So that's the only reason why I'm like, if he's at the right price, you could bring him back for some depth. But it don't look like he's going to be at the right price. So I'm with you on that.
I'm letting him go, and I'm drafting Devon Witherspoon of Illinois. I've seen him play up, I've seen multiple games. I had to study him.
Uh-huh.
He's gonna play.
Okay.
Right. He's gonna play, and he can do what Slay does, and he's bigger and stronger.
Okay. What's his name again?
Devon Witherspoon.
Devon Witherspoon. All right, let's start.
And he's played for NFL coach and Lovie Smith. So if they get Lovie Smith, I bet you Lovie Smith is going to be the first one to get him.
Okay. All right. I'm about to check him out. I'm cool with that.
All right. So that would be me. I'm letting James Bradbury go, and I'm drafting a cornerback in the first round with that 10th pick. Boom. Therefore, I got to answer just in case when Darius Slay gets older, I got a younger guy that's there. The next couple of years, I can figure out a way to get another cornerback, whether through free agency or whatever it is. But I'm not wasting money on James Bradbury. The reason I'm not wasting money on James Bradbury, I think that he's very instinctive. I like the way that he plays, but James Bradbury can get beat deep and he can get beat on double moves. And there's a reason why a lot of these receivers don't respect him. It's because they feel like if you get him in a one-on-one man situation, he's not at his best. And you want guys that can do both, be able to cover man and zone just as good. And I don't think Bradbury will fit that mold. Did he have a great year this year? Will he demand a lot of money? Somebody's going to pay him money, and we don't have the money.
Okay. Boom.
I said Malu, you can't sign him. Andre Dillard, can't sign him.
Get out of here.
Kazir White, can't sign him.
Nope.
TJ Edwards, gotta sign him.
Gotta sign him. I like TJ, man. And
Guys,
I think he could.
I think TJ Edwards got to be signed. I don't know what he's going to get paid, but I think. But here's the thing. It all depends on what defense coordinator is.
Yeah. TJ, go ahead.
TJ and
Kobe.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on his name? Dean.
Yeah, Nakobe Dean. Yeah.
Nakobe Dean.
Eagles hadn't paid linebackers in its history. So when the last linebacker didn't pay? Stuart Bradley?
Stu. What? Stu was a good dude, man. Stu.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Stu in years.
Ndamukong Suh, you can let him walk because you can pick him up the same way.
Pick him up, same
Linval Joseph, maybe someone that you pay veteran minimum to or a little bit above, I think, because he's still 29, I think. He's young. Boston Scott.
Linval Joseph is 34, dude.
Is he 34? I thought he's 29.
Yeah, no.
34? Okay.
We got to bring Boston back. He just does too much. And we're about to lose Miles Sanders. You got to bring him back. He returns kicks, punts. He can run the ball. He can block.
You probably can get him
catch the pass
for a minimum too. So you may be right.
Yeah, we got to bring Boston
Zach
back.
Pascal, no. Miles Sanders, no. Gainwell will begin to take his reps in the playoffs too. So that was the indication that they were preparing to get to not sign him. Rick Lovato, the long snapper. Yeah, I guess you keep long snappers. Gardner Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Yep, you gotta pay him. He's a priority. I agree with that. Tyree Jackson, no. Gardner Minshew. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean he's a backup quarterback. But
backup quarterbacks get like $11, $12 million, man. They don't have it.
Now you just said though, like now with possibly the shakeup with this offensive staff, if Brian Johnson is moving up to being the OC, you're gonna need someone in that room like Gardner with some experience. And the backup quarterbacks, they break down film for the starters. They do a lot of work that the coaches are supposed to be doing. So,
but what if you on top backup money? We can't pay him. I would feel terrible paying a backup quarterback when you got to pay Jalen Hurts all that money and everybody else they need to be signed, and you paying the backup quarterback $12 million. Like I just don't. I don't think that's smart. Like, but yes, do we need him? But yeah, I don't know.
That's a good point. No,
Marcus Epps. Why in the hell was Marcus Epps on Travis Kelce in a one-on-one situation? Jonathan Gannon, what the? You didn't have all 2 weeks. Two weeks you had, and that was the game plan to put a safety on Travis Kelce. Jalen Ramsey can't cover Travis Kelce one-on-one. Have you watched? He almost tore Denzel Ward's ACL off the. These are corners covering him. Marcus Epps ain't covering nobody this entire year. Dang! There's some stupid stuff that bothers, man. Some stuff is just stupid. That was stupid, man. That's the type of stuff that's just dumb stuff. That's 3 touchdowns that are just late.
Easy money.
Yes. Gosh.
There was so much wrong on each one of them touchdowns. On I don't want to try to get into breaking it down, but that was frustrating.
Marcus Epps. It was Marcus. Go ahead.
No. I love Marcus. I think he's kind of hit his peak here. I think we can get younger there. So
Yeah.
I love them, but I think it's time to move on.
So right now you got. Hold on. I'm gonna get. Let me calm down. I was so mad in the stands. Can you imagine me in the stands right now? I had lost my voice and everything. I was yelling at that dude the entire game. Gannon, what are you doing? You didn't have 2 weeks.
I mean, he had 2 weeks, but think about it. They had Vic Fangio in there. He was
Oh
probably
my
doing
god.
interviews with the
That's
Cardinals,
how,
so he probably wasn't even watching film.
that's how you know you don't trust him. When you talking about, man, we're gonna bring in somebody to help you out, man. You know how disrespectful that is. Man, we go bring in somebody that's gonna use some tutelage going into the Super Bowl. Bitch, we 16 and what we've been balling this whole year. I'm going to get
Oh
you
my
some
god.
help.
Oh
Oh,
man. Oh, the pain is real. Like when you really think about it, pain is real.
dude,
Oh,
I bet you somebody was like, hey, son, you better take that job in Arizona because there ain't gonna be one back here. Can't sit here. That's what happened. All right, man. All right. All right. All right. We got one question, man. All right.
Mr. Lord left him on the asphalt.
All right. They should have jumped him in the locker room. Man, what the
Oh my god.
man?
Okay, let's finish this.
Yeah.
Brighter days. Brighter
All right,
days.
where does the Eagles go from here? Are we looking at a perennial playoff Super Bowl caliber team? They sold out for the Super Bowl, so we're depleted.
Yeah.
We're depleted except for the offense. We're basically depleted
Yeah.
on the defense side of the ball. It's pretty much every one of our starters.
Yeah. That's scary. The scary part. And I
And you
was
got to pay
talking.
Jalen.
You gotta pay Jalen. I always I try to bring back from my experiences, and I remember the Super Bowl year where we went, and it seemed so easy. I was my second year in the league. We were blowing everybody out, and it seemed so easily. And we made the Super Bowl. We didn't get there, and I remember after it, I had got injured my shoulder in the game, and I had to have surgery. But I remember everyone like, "Oh, we'll get back. We'll be back. We'll get there next year. We'll get back to work." And the reality is we never went back. We never went back to Super Bowl. And so that's the scary part about this is that, like, I know it's all positive right now. And I know that on paper, this team, especially on offense, can definitely, get back to the big game. But, in reality, it's every year is different. Every team is different. So I'm a little bit weary of just saying, this team is going to just be able to get right back to the big game. So
Yeah.
it's a little frustrating. That's why you got to strike when the iron's hot. That's why these games, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, that's why it's so important because you never know when you're going to get another chance. And it's really kind of a bad situation in terms of you never know. You never know.
Never
So
know.
um,
Yeah, I don't know
we'll see.
with so many defensive contracts being up. I don't know what the team is going to look like defensively.
Yeah.
I do know that they have some young talent and they can add a lot. And the good thing is that you don't need much on offense. You may need to draft one lineman, maybe a guard, or tackle somewhere down in there. But I think most of your offense, well, you need a receiver. You need a third receiver. So you may spend a third or fourth round pick on that, fifth round pick on that. But everybody else should be on defense. It should be.
Yeah. It absolutely needs to be.
Yeah.
But you gotta find a defense coordinator first. So it's either going to be Denard Wilson, who I think is a very good young mind, not as experienced, but like I said, I would bring in someone with a ton of experience, Vance Joseph, and
Yeah.
or Lovey or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you don't necessarily have to fill all of these holes. If you got somebody with experience, they'll figure out different ways and creative ways to get the
Yeah.
best out of what they have there. So
Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like when you're look at the cream of the NFL, the cream of the crop. You're talking about the 49ers, good offense, Cowboys, good offense. And they're not the cream, they're the second tier. But the
mhm,
Bengals, the Bills,
mhm,
the Chiefs, you're going up against juggernauts. You need somebody experienced back there, man.
yeah,
It's school. This we ain't playing. Those teams not playing around. You got to score 30 in order to win, and
for
and
real.
and getting turnovers or holding them under 30 is a win for your team.
Hmm.
You go into those games saying if we hold them under 30 points, we should win.
That's crazy too.
You
That's
know what I
different.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
different. It's
crazy.
different time. All right,
Different ball
so
game, man.
let's get into this last question. It's a question from Cyrus FQ that
Hmm.
says, "When did you know you were good enough to play in the NFL?"
Mm, uh, I never really felt. I never really felt my first entire year. I never really felt that I was there, but I felt like I was getting better. But I there was one play I remember my rookie year. We were playing the Saints in the preseason. I had gotten injured a little bit before the game, and I decided to play anyhow. And I just remember there was one play. Can't remember who the quarterback, can't remember the receiver, but they ran a kind of an in route and a sit down. So what do you call that route? It's not really a comeback. It's kind of like a kind of go
Oh,
to a
it's
post and then you sit
yeah,
down.
sit down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's just like a inside like Hank or I forgot what we used to call that.
Hank,
Like
yeah, I think
a middle hook.
middle hook. So the
Yeah,
guy runs a middle hook. I'm in quarters. It's kind of a low ball. He goes down to catch it, and I fly up, and I just smack the guy in his back, and I dislodge the ball. And I remember just everybody kind of getting hype around me, and like, yeah, yeah. And I feel like that was the moment where I was like, okay, like I can do this. Not necessarily that I arrived or anything like that, but that first hit that I was able to get in the game on TV, and I was able to dislodge a ball and create basically a PBU was
yeah,
that moment where I felt like, okay, I feel like I can do this. So it didn't take long until I felt like it was possible, but I didn't feel like I had arrived until a year or two later.
yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah,
That energy from the team when you get that first sack. Go,
yeah.
all right, Q. I see you. That's great. I
Oh,
remember I remember being hurt my rookie year. I remember taking so many reps in rookie mini camp. Like back in those days, we had 4 receivers and we did the entire rookie mini. I'm talking about I called about 45 passes of practice. It was unbelievable how many reps we were taking. We were taking there was a full blown practice. We took every one of them. Avant, you in there, get in there, get in there. I'm like, so my knee ended up giving out but by the end of OTAs and I had a cartilage removed from my knee. So I never was right that entire year. And Hank was playing ahead of me because I was injured. And I
mhm,
remember, um, the coaches doubting if I was tough enough and those things. So it's 2 experiences. My first one was Jeff Garcia brought us back late in that year because Donovan got hurt. And the last game of the year, we had to play Falcons and Michael Vick's team, and they were a pretty good team. And the starters right before the game figured out that we won and this game didn't matter. So all the second string guys had to go in, but the Falcons had their whole team out there, their
mhm.
starters. And I remember me and Hank going, catching passes, yards at the catch. I caught a touchdown from AJ Feely. Like I was saucing Allen Rossum up. I was like giving him the business, like the business, D'Angelo Hall, giving him the business. It's like, who is this young dude out here with these moves, right? I'm telling you, we out there giving them the business. Hank went for like 100 and something. I went for like 60, but made all my catches, all my targets, scored a touchdown. Like I was
Oh,
like, dude, I can play. And then going into my second year, I was finally like healthy. And the first game of the year is my idol. Not and he's not my idol, but like Michigan Allure was like was Charles Woodson in Green Bay.
oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm like up all night. I'm like, he in the slot, because that's when the best corner used to play the nickel. Like there was a period of time in the NFL where your best corner went to nickel.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there was a period of time they did that. They don't do that anymore, but there was a period of time where your best corner went to nickel. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, dude, I'm going against, one of the best that, in Michigan, best corner in Michigan history, one of the best in the NFL. Charles, I'm up all night, couldn't sleep. They called my first third down. I had a double dig a lock, which is like a in route, but I can strike it back out if it's cover 2 man. So I looked at Don, I'm like, dude, I'm striking it. Like I give him that look, I'm striking it. Boy, I went in there to strike it, boom, and hit the back of his pad, like just a little nudge, but I stopped. He was already going. That dude, Charles Wilson, fell down. I got like a 40-yard gain on it. I was like, dude, can't nobody hold me. I was like, hey, there ain't nobody can cover me. It's impossible. I was talking about that dude. He flew about 10 yards because I had stopped. He was already going. Then I hit the back of the pad. It was like he got up, like he pushed me. He pushed me. I was like, dude, no, you guys saw stuff. Wait till I tell the boys back at home about this one.
Man, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta find like our old highlights on tape and like come on here, like break down how we just did somebody dirty, man.
Yeah, I actually got that. I got that somewhere. I saved it. I was like, I'm gonna show my kids this one.
And to all the fans that don't believe it, listen, if you don't believe it, just trust my words. Jason used to give out G on the field. Like I'm talking in one-on-ones, he had people on skates every day. It started off with a move, and then if he got off on the line, it was over. And we used to always watch. Okay, all right, here we go. So nobody, certain people, a lot of people, if they was in line with Jason, they kind of like took that step
went to the back.
Like, yeah,
I used to see him like, nah, like move on. We'll go. Jose, go ahead. About that.
I know I didn't want to go against you. No chance. You ain't get me on tape.
Ain't get me on tape out there. It's all good. All love. Q, it's been a pleasure this year.
Yeah, man.
Been a pleasure. Great job as usual. Great hearing your insight, breaking down tape. So much wisdom, man. Thank you so very much, man. Thank you.
Same with you, man. Thank you. It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. As always, man, I learned a lot from you. And, it's been a pleasure. And, obviously, I wish we could be up here celebrating. I had my plans. I was going to have a bottle of champagne for the last show. I was going to be pouring some champagne and sipping as we celebrate the win.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I have to wait till next year. So,
it's not so fast, my friend.
But yeah, man, it's been awesome, man. Yeah. So
to Adam and Jeff and Josh and everybody, the fans, thank you guys again for tuning in. This is the Q&A podcast on Inside the Birds YouTube channel. Check us out. See when we are doing our next show. Thank you guys for a great 2022-2023 season. Let's pray that free agency does as well again this year so we can be back in the Super Bowl in Vegas. Okay. All right, peace out.
Vegas, that'd be fun.
It'd be Vegas, right? I'll be out. We'll be out there.